Cancer, welcome to I'm Mona Tarot. I certainly hope and pray that all is well, Cancer. Thank you so much for choosing me and trusting me with your reading. Thank you for all your likes, your shares, your comments, your subscribes. Welcome to new members. Welcome to new subscribers. Welcome to those who are returning. I appreciate your love and support. Become a member here at I Am the Monad Tarot, where we have early access to videos, monthly readings, as well as members-only videos, Cancer. I'll be doing your reading here from the Rider-Waite. Let me get you some good shuffles in. And we will begin your reading for Cancer. Let's see what we have. Give you a nice three-way split, Cancer. All right, Cancer, let's get into it. Let me change my music here. I forgot to change it. Oh, shit. All right. Cancer, walking in victory. You are victorious, walking in victory right now, Cancer. And I'm hearing, keep it up, keep that going, stay in the flow, all right? It may have been a long time coming, okay? But definitely something that you have been working at, all right? You've turned some things around here, okay? I feel like it may have been a time in your life where you might not have been doing that well financially, didn't have all you wanted. I don't know, maybe you felt like a charity case, or maybe people were treating you like a charity case. But it's just a matter of you felt like you didn't have enough. But the thing about it is, you stayed in a place of, I'm hearing a concept of self-love, but I feel like in a place of self-love, loving yourself, okay, reaching for your dreams, reaching for your goals, reaching for the stars here. You might have even gone through a tough time familially. Is that a word? Familially, okay. As far as family is concerned, okay. Maybe you had a divorce, okay. That could have had something to do with, a shortage of funds, okay. Financial shortage, I'm hearing, but I am hearing the words financial breakthrough. And wow, Cancer, I heard, and more is coming, okay. More is on the way. All right. I definitely feel like, I heard stand your ground. Okay, I feel like you stood your ground against adversity. Okay, spoke your truth, lived in your truth. Okay, not a place of, I'm hearing self-denial. Okay, so I just feel like maybe not denying yourself of who you were, okay, of who you are. Okay, but definitely living in your truth, speaking the truth. I feel also, Cancer, you probably, I want to say smart, but I'm hearing highly intelligent. Okay. Which led you to walk away from some things, okay? It's like you went on some kind of journey here, okay? I'm hearing dark night of the soul. You were definitely being watched over, protected, but I feel like you were confident, okay, that you were being watched over and protected, right? Went on your journey, okay? I'm hearing the word rotten. Before you did that, before you went in, what may have led you to walk away or to go on your journey, your destination, I'm hearing, to reach your destiny, to get where you are now in this place of victory. You may have been in a place at one point in your life where maybe you were afraid to take risks. Okay, maybe you were afraid to really just get out there, okay, and do what it is that you wanted to do. Maybe you were afraid of competition. Maybe whatever field it is that you work in or what you wanted to do, there's a lot of competition. That might have been caused you to some hesitancy, okay, and moving forward and moving in the direction that you truly wanted to go in. But you did it. Look at you. You did it. You renewed yourself like, you know what? I know who I am. I know my big, and I know that I can do this. You got into your bag here, into your, like I said, I feel like you're a smart, highly intelligent person, okay? Industrious. I don't know why I'm hearing well-mannered, but depending on what it is that you do, that might actually be real, like maybe customer service is a part of it. If you own your own business, it really doesn't matter. You always have to work with people, okay? And I feel like you have I'm hearing the common sense to do that. But maybe you went to school, did some studying. Even if you didn't go to school, you did something here, some kind of studying, work. I don't know, did you work abroad? Did you study abroad? I heard work abroad. Maybe you went overseas to do some kind of work. Maybe you went, that was your journey going overseas, okay? I'm hearing method to your madness, methodology. People may not have understood what it is that you were doing, but I feel like you were just really focused. I'm hearing primary focus on you and your being and what it is that you wanted to do for your life, okay? To pick yourself up, to get out of this place of fear, to get out of, worrying about competition, and determine here that you would win at all costs for you. Not trying to beat anyone else out but you. Your focus is you, maintaining you, living the life that you wanted to live, being the you that you wanted to be, not concerned about others. Here, let's continue on, Cancer. One card. I wanted to say that for you, I'm hearing the word rational being, rational thinker, but I also feel like you wouldn't stop if you felt like, maybe you went through a period of fear, a period of being afraid to really put yourself out there and go after what it is, what it is that you want, what it is that you desire, but you did. I mean, like you finally made that move. You finally came to a determination that, I'm going to do what it is that, I'm called to do or destined to do, or feel like I'm led to do. But you might have gone through a period, I'm not quite sure how to say this. You might have gone through a period of not knowing what it was that you were supposed to do. Okay, what it is that you were destined to do. But that didn't stop you from moving forward. I got to make a plan. So you might have went through a period of being like kind of blank. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how they say brainstorm. Okay, and you possibly couldn't think of anything. Okay, not sure what way to go. But at the same time, you knew that you had to move forward. Regardless. And even if it was, okay, say you knew what you wanted to do. It's like despite the competition, Okay. And despite the fear of, being in competitive energy with others, or them possibly being in competitive energy with you, like you would not stop, okay, until you found the joy here, okay, within, I feel. Okay. I hope that makes sense. I don't know. I wonder if you began to feel, I feel like you began to feel, I do feel like you might be an older person, okay? Maybe middle age. I think most of my people that watch are possibly middle age. I don't know, though. But I feel like you may have felt at one point like you were just getting old. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and unimportant, I'm hearing, okay? Sometimes when people, it's so funny. Yeah. I had this person, I don't know for shit, make a comment one time, not on this channel, called me an old lady. I don't know what I thought when I saw it. I think it was like last year, the year before last. But I came across that and I looked, I said, what the fuck? You're saying that to be condescending, to try to hurt my feelings. Aging is normal. That's a normal thing. And bitch, whoever the fuck you are, maybe you won't be blessed enough to do that. And we know what that means. But see, you don't think about it like that. You just think about trying to tear someone down or hurt someone because they're an older person. Okay, and when you get there, hopefully you'll have sense enough to know and recognize and realize that you don't really give a fuck about some silly ass person, young person, calling you old as if that's supposed to hurt your fucking feelings. Everyone ages. So why should a person feel bad about that? Not very smart, not very wise. I don't know, that just, it's funny how I was thinking about that, like actually today, yesterday and today, because I just came across it again, like I think yesterday. And, I was like, I don't know what I said to this person back then, But it's like, I'm supposed to feel bad about aging? You're stupid. So people like that, you want to, it's like this may sound harsh what I'm about to say, but it's true. It's like you're worthless if that's how you feel, if that's what you think. So you don't need to age, because if that's your mindset, then you're already letting us know that as you get older, you have nothing to contribute. You're just to be laughed at because you aged. Because it's like a teenager would look at you and call you an old lady. Okay? It's like wisen up. That's stupid. But I guess that's kind of a side note, Cancer. But what I'm saying to you here is, sometimes when people do get older, as they get older, especially when they go like through the midlife, or you call it a midlife crisis, your hormones get to act in a certain kind of way. Ain't no need for nobody to act like it don't happen to men. It does. Okay, what did they used to call it for men? Midlife crisis. Okay. And sometimes as you get older, especially when you live in a society where people that are older, are not really valued for their experience, for their wisdom, hopefully, okay, that they have obtained through living life. Another story. I remember I had a job, and this lady got to, want to argue with me. I'm not here to argue with you. But it was about the job itself. And I was like, well, ma'am, I've been working since I was 14. I think I was like maybe 49 at the time, or 50 or something. It don't matter how old you are. I beg to differ with you. And I did let her know it absolutely matters. My age absolutely matters, because it goes along with my experience. And I'm telling you, I've been working since I was 14. I know how to work a fucking job. Okay? You will be saying that one day, when somebody comes at you the way you're coming at me. Let's wake up. Okay. And stop feeling a need to be condescending to somebody because you need to feel superior. You're not. But when you do live in a society where people that are older, like Western society, they're not valued once again for the experience that they come with. Okay, even to the point where now you got older people trying to act like they're 20. You know, ain't nothing wrong with 20. Don't get me wrong. I love my 20s. I love my 30s, and I love my 40s. You know, and I love my life now. I'm just saying. But sometimes you will go through periods of moments where you begin to feel like useless. Okay, or like, not that you actually are, but like you're not valued. You feel thrown away. You feel ignored, like people don't see you. Okay, lady who raised me, she went through a period where it drove me fucking crazy. I was like, what the fuck is she doing? And I asked her, what are you doing? Everywhere we went, you know, she would jump into helping. You know, it's like, you know, like if my daughter, for example, if we went to one of her events, at school events, at the end of the event, where they're putting the chairs up, you know, and everything out of the auditorium, here she is. And I was like, stop. What are you doing? Well, I just want to help. Why do you want to do that? There are people here to do that. You don't need to do that. And it was all the time. It was really strange. It was strange to me at the time. It felt strange. But I also recognized and realized, you know, when you've been a person, I'm talking about her, from what I could see, from what I remember. Mind you, I didn't really know this lady the way I thought I did, but from what I do, what I did know, what I did remember, is like when you've been a person who's always been there to help, and people have always turned to you, you know, for help and assistance, and you've been able to, and then you're getting older, and you're kind of being, you know, I don't want to say pushed out, but other people are coming into the space that you know, filled. You do begin to feel like, you know, am I wanted? Am I needed? You know, and that's, I don't give a fuck nobody say. That's important for a human being to feel. Okay, to feel valued. All right. So I feel, Cancer, you may have gone through a period here where you felt maybe like you were getting old. Okay. I'm not saying older. I'm saying old. They're two different things. We all get older, but some people feel old. And in this society, they have kind of equated old to some kind of decrepit shit. It means you're falling apart. And that's what this heifer who put that comment, you know, like she was making fun of me, put that comment there. No, bitch, I'm not falling apart. If that's what you're trying to allude to, or if that's how you're trying to make me feel. Okay, step off the cliff and get your mind right. Or don't bring your ass back over here, bitch. You think I'm gonna fall for your shit? Cause I'm not. Excuse me. Okay, I don't have no problem with aging. Okay. Well, I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I do. Okay. There are some aspects of this shit I do not like. All right, like what the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? But it's not because of I'm feeling, you know, decrepit and all of that kind of stuff. Because, it's a state of mind, okay? Especially nowadays, you got women and men, you know, older. We see them on these apps, okay? Taking care of business, okay? Looking damn good, healthier than some 20, 30-year-olds out there, okay? And I'm not putting 20, 30-year-olds down either, okay? Don't put nobody down, okay? Unless they act silly and stupid, okay? And you're trying to bully and think you're funny, then yeah, I will put you down. I don't have no problem with that. That's how you came at me. That's how I'm gonna come back at you. I'm gonna give it right back to you, cause I didn't ask for that shit. Okay. Now let me just get back to this. All right. But anyway, I do feel, once again, you may have felt like you were getting old, and that, you know, you were no longer needed, okay? Or that you've lived your life, there's nothing else for me to do, or what else can I do, or this thing that I wanted to do here, okay? Maybe I don't need to do it anymore. Like nobody, I do think this is a masculine energy here that I'm talking to, maybe not, okay? Take it as it resonates. You may have felt like, you know, you might have felt like you were losing your looks, Okay, men go through that too, not just women. Okay, the virile shit. You know what I'm saying? Is that the word? Manly shit. You know what I'm saying? You may have felt like you were losing that. Okay, you may have felt like women were not, or men, whatever you like, whoever you are. Okay, but well, I'll just put it this way: you may have felt like you were losing your attractiveness. Okay, you may have even felt like you were losing your ability to be a leader. Okay, I'm hearing to your masculine era. Okay, you may have felt like it was coming to a close. Okay, and there's nothing left for me to do. You may have even felt, even in your intimate aspects of your intimate life. Okay, understand what I'm saying? You may have felt like your performance was low. Okay, or maybe there wasn't nobody there to perform with, or you just was losing interest. All right, which that's a lot of that's hormonal. Okay, and sometimes it's just not. Okay, sometimes it's a state of mind too. Okay, but nevertheless, you may have felt like there was no one there. Okay, who would be interested in you once again. Okay, to show you any kind of love, appreciation. Okay. You have some cultures and societies where they absolutely, respect, okay, the those that are older in their community. Okay, once again, for the wisdom they bring, for the experience they bring, for the more calm spirit that they bring, or that gentle touch that they bring that you may not have had, in your younger years. Okay, but just sometimes just time, okay, and experience in life, you just look and realize some things are not a big deal. They're not major. What my brother bought me this book years ago. Don't sweat the small stuff, and it's all small stuff. That was a good book. Okay. I just feel like sometimes that's when people get older. That's just like shit. It's all small. I ain't worried about shit. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I ain't worried about it. I know how to do it. I know how to be of assistance. That's what we call older mothers grand, or fathers grand. Okay. Because they're grand, and they can bring an aspect to your life and the life of their grandchildren, and helping to raise them because of their experience and because of their gentle touch, their nurturing, things that they did not know when they were younger, they know now. So older people are to be valued. But again, when you live this society, Western culture doesn't really value those that are older. Okay, look at how they treat them. Look at how older people are treated. They're just highly disrespected. Okay, like they're nothing and no one, and they absolutely are. They absolutely live the life that's important. Like I said before, I've been told plenty of times by people, I think you should write a book. You could write a book. I'm like, everybody could write a book, and it would be interesting. Every life that has lived on this earth. Even that old silly heifer who put that comment, under my video, every single person who has walked this earth has lived a life of interest that would be interesting. Okay. Okay. So back to what I was saying. So you may have felt stuck. Okay. In that hangman energy. Okay. I'm hearing not enlightened here. Okay. But I feel like you're enlightened now. You may have come to a place of, as you went on your journey, something, maybe it's this Queen of Wands energy, maybe this Queen of Swords energy, both upright, that spoke to your senses and say that shit, it don't matter how old you are. Maybe you saw a video on YouTube, maybe you ran into an old friend or something and you saw that, hey, this person, documentaries on people. Matter of fact, I was having this conversation with someone last week. We were talking about actors and actresses who became famous but didn't start acting until middle age. I mentioned Danny Aiello. She was young, so she didn't know who Danny Aiello was. Okay, I'm not even sure he's out there like that anymore, but he was big. Like, what was it, in the 90s, I think, early 90s. Okay, he may still be out there doing his thing. I don't know, but I think, if I remember correctly, I think he was like 45 when he started acting. Not when he got his big break, no, when he started acting. He was a construction worker. And I remember when I had my daughter, I was home, and I was watching like a Sunday morning show or something like that. And this older lady, she was it a Tony Award? She became famous on Broadway. I don't remember her name on Broadway. I think she was like 90 something, but she didn't start acting until she was like, I think in her 60s or 70s or some shit like that. Okay, started, not big break, started. Okay, so there's so many people out there like that, in our world who became well known for their work, but who didn't start till middle age, okay, or after, or thereafter, okay. Now, everybody has something to contribute, everybody, okay. And that person who wrote that comment, I hope you're watching, okay. Get your mind right, love, all right. But anyway, because you're going to age, okay. It's only one thing that stops that process, all right. But anyway, because that mindset, you will, if that's the mindset you have now, like I said a few minutes ago, you were going to walk into your older age feeling as though, well, I'm old now, I ain't shit, I don't have shit to contribute to nothing and nobody. And that's not true. Don't put yourself through that, but you ain't gonna put me through that, okay. But so you may have come across cancer, someone who like I said, my videos, anything, documentaries or whatnot, seeing people, okay, who were older, your age, like I said, middle age or older, who walked confidently, stood with their head, stood up with their back straight, head held high, and said, I'm going to do what it is I want to do. Okay, regardless of how old I am, all right, and I'm going to do a damn good job of it. Okay. All right. And I feel as though that's the road that you took here, cancer, and are taking. All right. I feel like you've come into a place and a realization here, knowing that just because you are possibly, like I said, middle age, older, you don't have to live life by yourself. Okay, and feel like in your head and in your mind, okay, that it's all over, I'm washed up, don't nobody want me, don't nobody love me no more, I can't perform like I used to, I ain't as handsome like as I used to be, I ain't as pretty as I used to be, all of that kind of thing. Okay, right. You've sacrificed, okay, or you're sacrificing, like I said, you may have lost some money here, okay. It may have, like I said earlier, it may have come through a divorce, something about family, okay, a possible loss of family in whatever way, okay. Then sometimes people get older and it's just like there's nobody left but myself, It could be that, like I said, or it could be the divorce maybe that you went through, okay. But again, I feel like you sacrificed here. I feel like maybe you might have been married here, okay. That might have ended a while ago, okay. Or maybe something about possibly the mother of your children, okay, with this Empress card in reverse. I feel like it's more so in reverse because it's based about on a loss, okay, losing this person. And you know what, it's like sometimes, too, when you get older, things that you don't really concern yourself with when you're younger, I'll be all right, I'm cool, and you do feel cool and everything. But sometimes when people get older and they're realizing their age, so on and so forth, okay, and they're realizing I'm closer to the end of my life than beginning of my life, then you begin to look at relationships, okay, of the past, okay. And maybe sometimes some people, I'm not saying all people, some people, well, at least this is what they say, okay. I haven't gotten to that place for myself yet, okay. Based on some of my experiences, that's not a place I feel like I need to get to, but you never know, you know what I'm saying. But you may have looked back on some of these past relationships, or maybe this person, I feel like you may have been married to this Empress in reverse, possibly a mother of a child, possibly your mother, maybe an older person in your life, older woman in your life that you had a relationship with, but nevertheless, like, now looking back at the relationship, like, just missing the relationship, missing the person, and possibly thinking and realizing that, wow, if we didn't get the divorce, okay, if I didn't lose this person, however I lost them, they would be here with me now, okay, and I wouldn't have to go it alone, okay, if that's what you're feeling. Well, I feel like that you may have been feeling that, like I said, but I feel like now you're coming into the realization that you're not alone, Okay, you don't have to live your life alone here. Okay. Something about, I feel, you may have been, I was going to say something about traditions and institutions. Like I said, you might be going back to school. Okay. I remember when I was in seminary, I went to seminary when I was 28 years old. I was 28 years old. Okay. The majority of people in seminary were like middle aged. And there was one of my fellow students, peers, I should say that, one of my fellow peers, this lady was like, she had to be about like 70 or 80 or something. Listen, the woman was shit sharp every day. We had them 7 o'clock classes, 7 a.m. classes. You had to be there at 7 in the morning, okay? And she'd be sitting up there dressed to the fucking nines. She walked with a cane, dressed to the nines. All the time, looking at us like y'all just coming in. Yeah, she ready to get started. All right, dressed to the nines every day with her cane. And I remember her my first year. By my third year when I was graduating, I was like, what happened to that lady? I ain't seen her around. Graduation day, they called her. She walked right across that stage. I was like, man, what happened to her? I think she had gone home or she had moved somewhere. So, because she was living on campus my first year. She lived in the same dorm I lived in. I don't know if she was a few doors down or upstairs. I can't remember. No, I was in the front of the building. My room wasn't. She was in the back of the building, okay? But that lady was shit sharp every day. It didn't matter what time it was, okay? The lady was cold. But she walked right across that stage with that cane and got her master's degree, okay? So I feel like like I said, you may be going back to school, okay? You may be even getting more in tune with your spiritual self, with spirituality. Possibly, maybe you're taking a religious route. I'm here, no, I'm spiritual. I just heard that, no, I'm spiritual. And I'm here, and that's what I'm working on. Okay. Awesome. Okay, and I feel like you're finding the balance in your life where at one point it wasn't there. You are manifesting here. Okay, like I said, you're victorious. Yeah, I do see with the high priestess card right here. So your spiritual self. I feel like you're becoming more in tune with your spiritual self. Trusting yourself, trusting your intuition more. Not like I said, listen. Okay, listen. Let's see this card, what I'm about to say. If there is someone here, if you have an interest in a relationship, what are you waiting for? If there's a person of interest that you're talking to or whatever that you want to, come into contact with, what are you waiting for? All right, go on and make that move. Let that person know. Okay. Now you might want to take things kind of slow, but don't be half-assing it. Okay, or living in fear. If you were bold enough to say, hey, you know what, don't matter that I'm getting old, I'm gonna go back to school, do my thing, you know what I'm saying, I can sacrifice this, that, and the other, I realize now I'm not alone, I may be older, but I'm not old and decrepit, I can still take care of my body, because that's another thing, is these older people out here who they start getting their body tight and right when they in their 50s and 60s. Okay, look at her. What's her name? Ernestine Shepherd. I think she said she was in her 40s. I remember when before she came like really well known, like, was it before the days of the internet? I saw her in Essence had like a picture book of women, and she was highlighted in that book. But that was before she became like really, really big. When she did, I was like, I remember that lady in that book because I had bought the picture book and I had her in there. And I think that lady was like in her 40s. There's people in their 50s, their 60s. Okay, some in their 70s. Okay, I've seen videos of people in their 70s right here on YouTube. Okay, I started this year when I was 70-something years old, and look at her, and they looking cold. Okay, but I just feel like don't half-ass it. Okay, if there is someone that you are interested in here, why? Because look at this 10 of Cups. Look what's coming in for you. You may have lost a relationship. You may have lost a marriage at some point in your life. Okay, lost money. And it might be even then at that point things you were more materialistically oriented, more financially oriented, where now, ain't nothing wrong with that, but I feel like now, look, emotional fulfillment here, okay, and a home, an abundance, there's some justice coming in for you. All right, especially I feel like in regards to, look at this, there might have been like a big financial, that might have been like your motivator in life when you were younger, money, okay, but I feel like now you're more so into nurturing, okay, from the heart, as opposed to, and the relationship from person to person, as opposed to, just, I'm not saying that's all you care about was just money, but not letting finances and money be that pertinent and that important in your life. All right, Cancer. All right. Let me see. Anything else for Cancer? What else does Cancer need to know? I'm hearing you're an abundant energy, Cancer. Okay. There's a lot coming in for you, a lot of blessings coming in. Love, joy, peace, goodness, all of that kind of stuff. I'm hearing you deserve it. Okay. All right. You put in, your time. I mean, you're working on that. Okay. Believing in yourself. Okay. Standing tall and proud and going to do your thing here. Okay. Yeah. I'm here taking no shortcuts. I don't know, Cancer, though. I hope this doesn't sound negative for you, but it may not be a lot in regards to money, okay, coming in. Did I say that at some point? I do see you victorious here. But I feel like, I'm not saying you're going to be broke and poor, okay? And sometimes people, that's another thing, I'm not saying everybody, but sometimes people when they get older, they're more so want to value relationships, especially if they've lost relationships, okay, and lost people. Because like I said, you get older, you look back on shit like, I wish I did this, I could have did this differently, and blah, 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 this, that, and the other. So it might not be a whole lot in that area, okay? I'm not like, you will be living and surviving, okay? But I feel like you'll be thriving more so in connection, okay, with yourself and another human being, okay? I feel like that will be the what will be prominent here, okay, for you, okay? And don't worry about it. You gotta, if you worried about, come country. I was just looking at this story about Red Fox and Lawanda Page, right? Fred and Esther. Now I love Sanford and Son. And I remember he was always at times worried about his, like, well, the whole thing with, his heart attacks. I'm coming to join you, honey. But there was one episode, it's one of my favorite episodes, right, where he had really, really bad gas, okay, because he ate like some 8-day-old greens, okay. Those were the days when, doctors, they could make house calls. So the doctor came out and was like, there's nothing wrong with you. He thought he was dying, right? And I was like, there's nothing wrong with you. And he said, I was, then he told him that he ate some 8-day-old greens. And the doctor was like, basically like, that's what the fuck is wrong with you? You done ate some 8-day-old greens, man. You're full of gas. And gas can be very painful, okay? Treacherous, you can get gas anywhere in your body. But I remember the doctor told him, did you just take it easy? He was in his room in the bed, and a song came on. Freddy's dead, Freddy's dead. That was the song. And I thought it was a song the show made up. There was actually a song that, that was a real song. And he heard it, and he got to worrying and whatnot, but it was so funny. But don't worry, babe. I feel like you all right. Okay, you got plenty of time. All right. Now I ain't gonna tell you how long and all that kind of stuff, but we got the death card in reverse. You all right. Okay, go ahead and live your life. Do what it is that you want to do. Okay, be blessed and be a blessing. Here we have from the Precious Gems Oracle, Vermarine, right? Vermarine, a bridge. Let's see what we have. 38 is the card. 11, 2 might be your life path number here. All right. Okay, Vermarine. Hold me to your mind's eye. Let the veil dissolve into the pale green light of an ocean-glazed morning. I am Vermarine, your guide, your stepping stone between worlds. The soft hum of dawn contains a cantata of angels and a future refrain. My soft hue tints your lens, and dew glistens on the strands of a new day. Divinatory meaning. A solid plan links possibility and actuality. A higher ideal or cause is taken up in the workplace or incorporated into daily life. An ephemeral encounter has a physical impact, deja vu, or a sense of what is coming. Affirmations. My physical and spiritual bodies are synchronized. My life is balanced between the spiritual and the physical. I have a strong link with my spiritual guides. I am in touch with my higher self. I certainly hope that resonated with some Cancer. I ask that you all like, share, and subscribe. To those who have subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you have not, but you watch my videos, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, thumbs up, comment, come over, see what's happening here at I Am the Monad Tarot. Hype my videos, y'all. You all have favor. Peace.